Crypto Coach, CoinDCX. Learn karo, crypto karo.
Test cricket. It's alive, it's kicking, it's thriving. What a glorious English summer we've witnessed. The start of a new dawn for Indian Test cricket, and it finishes after 25 out of 25 days played 2-2 in the Anderson Tendulkar Trophy. Welcome to CoinDCX presents ESPN Cricinfo Match Day. It's time to look back on this glorious summer in the company of Sanjay Bangar. Mr. Bangar, thank you for your time. The series is drawn, and I know it's a cliche, but perhaps this is the kind of series which makes the cliche stay in currency. This is a win for Test cricket.
It is a win for Test cricket, and I mean, Test cricket is very, very much alive in England because the kind of love that the Englishmen have for Test cricket is very, very clear, very obvious. And the fact that that legacy, that tradition continues is great to see, and that's the reason I do think that the World Test Championship cycle or the finals being held there seems to be apt because this is a community or this is a cricket loving fraternity which wants to see Test cricket alive, and rightfully so. One such series was played and would be remembered for a long, long time in England.
Yeah, and how beautiful is it that this new generation, this transitioning Indian Test side, gets to begin its new journey with this gem of a series.
It does, and looking forward, having had attained a lot of experience of playing so well in all the venues that they played, and one of those venues is going to be the venue for the World Test Championship final. So once they go through all the cycle and reach the finals, I think whatever they've done in this particular series will be of great help.
It will be one of the goals, surely. They have achieved this 2-2 draw, and now over the next 2 years, India under Shubman Gill will hope to go the distance in the World Test Championship. And Shubman Gill is where we should begin this analysis of this series, because his first summer as Indian Test captain, it was always going to be a tough challenge. How do you rate it?
I think this was the first instance of him also getting a full series in England, and that helps as a batter. And if you have a great start at Headingley itself, then it sort of quietens down all the nerves. And because India started so well, and the number of batsmen that they got runs in the very first Test match is extremely critical, because you know that scoring runs in England is very, very valuable, and if it comes right at the start of the series, 2 or 3 batsmen getting big scores means that the series is beautifully set up. And that's where I think Shubman getting those big knocks in the first 4 innings itself meant that the entire question marks about his captaincy affecting his batsmanship just vaporized out of thin air, and he also became far, far more confident as a leader, because if you look at his leadership in the first Test match and right up to day 5 of the 5th Test match, there was a huge improvement. So clearly Shubman Gill was a huge positive for Indian team.
Yeah, with 585 runs in just those first 2 tests, Gill made it clear that the responsibility is sitting well on his batting. When you talk about the evolution you've seen within the series itself in his leadership, how would you begin to explain that? What did you see him improve or change through the series?
See, I think 2 things. Number one was basically the combination that he would have wanted to play. Now the thought process seemed that they wanted batting depth all the time, and that is a theme that they persisted with throughout the series. So will he emulate that? I think only time will tell. So that was number one. And the only second question mark which comes, wherein can he use the spinners better, and when can he use the spinners better? So there was a case where I believe that on day 4, when Brook and Root were going very, very strongly in pursuit of the chase, I felt that there was a place wherein spinners would have been used for a slightly extended spell. I think usage of spin in overseas conditions, how smartly can he do that, is going to be the thing wherein he will evolve. But overall, in terms of his mannerisms, in terms of how he dealt with defeats and victory, and I just felt that overall he seemed very, very confident while dealing with the media and with in all the press commitments that a captain has to go through, because those are additional responsibilities. But he was very, very consistent. So all those things mean that he has shown those signs of improvement which one wants to see in a young leader.
All right, you take us neatly into what was one of the big storylines of this series, which was around India's tactics and the combination and the 11 that they fielded in one of the earlier tests. At the end of the fourth, in fact, Sanjay Manjrekar, when he was here on the show, said that India have managed to keep themselves in this series almost despite tactics and not because of it. Is that a view you would agree with?
Always two ways at looking at things. The Indian team management always feels, or at least in the last 3-4 seasons has felt that need to have that batting depth. And that's a question wherein you want to have a fast bowling all-rounder. If India does get that fast bowling all-rounder, then I believe the combination generally tends to settle itself, just like water finds its own level. So for me, till the time India gets a proper fast bowling all-rounder, you will always have these question marks. So there was a period wherein Hardik Pandya was the guy, and you have play 3 seamers, you play Hardik Pandya and you play 1 spinner, and the combination was set. You had the batting depth, you had all the bowling bases covered as well. So India will have to go through these phases till the time maybe a Nitish Reddy comes good, or maybe even for some, or for that matter, even an Akashdeep develops into a more than handy batter on a consistent basis, because he's got the bowling skill sets. So he can be a good number 8, but if he gets the faith of the team management that he is a good number 8, then I don't think Indian team managements will ponder so much on the combination. So I think the real answer to that is finding that seam bowling all-rounder in overseas conditions.
Till such time that India find an out-and-out seam bowling all-rounder. And by that, I mean, in the 4 tests that Shardul Thakur and Nitish Kumar Reddy played in the series, they bowled a combined total of 55 overs. So till the time India find that out-and-out bowler, what's the better road for them, especially in these away tests? Continue with the notional all-rounder or play specialists?
Going forward, if you ask me, India is only going to play 2 test matches in Sri Lanka and 2 test matches in New Zealand in this particular cycle.
Yeah.
So I believe that because of the confidence that is now being shown in the batting depth of, or the batting quality or the batting returns of Ravindra Jadeja and Washington Sundar, in those test matches I would still go towards having that extra bowling resource for India to win test matches on a more consistent basis. So if Akashdeep develops into that sort of an all-rounder who can give runs on a consistent basis, the team can certainly look at playing him at number 8 and play the rest of the 3 seamers. So that could be the way of looking at things if the conditions are in favor of the faster bowlers.
All right. One constant through this series, India's batters made runs, a lot of runs. They've broken all sorts of batting records over the course of this series. And while, yes, it might have been favourable batting conditions for the large part of the series, there are still runs to be scored. In this first series, after 2 significant retirements, has the series already given a semblance that the batting core is in place?
See, I mean, who were they replacing? If you really look at the number 4 spot, if Shubman Gill has taken the number 4 spot, I think he's done as good as a Virat Kohli could have done. And if you ask me who's taken the opener slot or Rohit Sharma's place, it is Yashasvi Jaiswal, and he's also probably has a equally good series to show for. So I think because Yashasvi Jaiswal and Shubman Gill opening the batting and batting at number 4 really got those runs, probably because of that, Indian team never missed the services of Rohit and Virat.
Add to that, this is a series of immense significance for KL Rahul. The first time he's gone into a series as the most seasoned batter, and he looked the part.
He certainly looked the part, and add to whatever he's done as a batsman, consumed a lot of balls, very consistent throughout the series as well, going past the 500 run mark for the first time in his career in an overseas series. the kind of slip catching that we could see from him, very, very good, very consistent in the slip cordon. And he was an able ally to Shubman Gill at times as well, because he was giving him suggestions. As also, you could also see a side of KL Rahul which wasn't seen earlier, wherein he was having a lot of chats with the opponents, with the umpires at times, and in a sense he was looking at the entire team as an elder statesman. So that to me was a standout part which wasn't really reflective of KL Rahul in terms of the personality. So I was very, very happy to see that side of KL Rahul on this tour.
So runs from both the openers, runs in heaps for Shubman Gill. Ravindra Jadeja was such a vital batter for India throughout the series. Gill is of course the standout. Who to you is the second best batter from this series?
KL Rahul, obviously, without a doubt, because KL Rahul, as I said earlier, number of balls that he batted, such solid approach, and he seemed to be at ease with himself. And whenever he played, he just felt that he had so much more time to adjust, and playing the ball so late. So for me, it's a no-brainer, because without KL Rahul, Indian middle order would have been exposed way too earlier. And the kind of starts that both these openers gave was tremendous. It does not happen far too often, wherein opening batsmen of subcontinent countries go to England and survive a 5-test match and go unchanged. I think that's a huge win, and that's where the batting numbers that followed were primarily because of the foundation that both these openers laid.
Allow me to just mention how rare it is, and not just for subcontinental batters. Since 1993, this is only the third time that both the openers of a team, any team, have crossed 400 runs for a test series in England. So that's how good the job done by Jaiswal and Rahul was. Let's focus on the bowling now, and of course the superstar of the series, Sanjay Bangar has already said Mohammad Siraj was for him perhaps the player of the series for India. But when we consider the bowling questions, the series was also as much about the workload management of Jasprit Bumrah, when he plays, when he doesn't play, and we know that this is likely to be a recurring feature given all the fitness concerns that he's had, that India have to manage. So how do you view the road ahead, both for Bumrah and with Bumrah for this Indian test side?
Jasprit Bumrah is invaluable to the T20 setup of this current team as well, and World Cup is just round the corner. So the team management sitting there and taking decisions will also have a mid-term view of how to utilize Jasprit Bumrah across all the formats, which is again not the case with somebody like a Mohammad Siraj. And if it's a 5-test match series, and if Jasprit Bumrah is going to be available for 3 test matches, I think going forward, probably the learning for the team management would be, okay, let's play him 3 in a row and then rest him totally. That is something could be a learning for the Indian team, but they are not going to encounter this in the entire World Test Championship cycle. So whatever workload management had to happen with Jasprit Bumrah, I believe has already happened. So I don't think this question will come up till the end of the World Test Championship cycle.
So it is possible that India will have to be ready for frequent absences or frequent gaps without their premier bowler. So how do they try and plan for that?
I don't think that sort of a situation is going to arise, because they are playing 2 test matches against West Indies and 2 tests against South Africa. I think if he has to miss one, he would miss one against South Africa, which is the later test series. He can very well go through the West Indies series playing both those 2 test matches. That could be the planning, and then he's still fresh for the white ball or the T20 World Cup, and he need not necessarily play all the T20 matches that have to be played in the lead up to the World Cup. So as a management, maybe that could be one of the way as to how they can manage this workload, because now the difficult portion for the Indian team is behind us now. So you've seen 5 test matches in Australia, you've seen 5 test matches in England, and from the team's point of view, this is the toughest year that you can get, a calendar year. And they've already passed that. And towards the end of it, in fact, they've come out a slightly better team. So I don't think it's much of a concern going ahead, because the test schedule is nicely spread out for India to actually use optimally the resource of Bumrah. And at home, he may not have to bowl the number of overs that are required, because you will still see somebody like Akshar Patel or a Kuldeep Yadav. So India going back to those three spinners, which will mean that the faster bowlers may not have to bowl the number of overs that are required of them in overseas conditions.
That is right. The next few test series that India have to play is indeed at home. Let's close the lid on this by asking you your biggest takeaway from this series.
My biggest takeaway would be the emergence of Prasidh Krishna, because that also gives you a little bit of a comfort that if at all India does not have the services of even a Siraj or a Bumrah, you still have two bowlers capable of running through sides and causing enough problems even on Indian pitches. And I'm looking at the next 5 test matches, and I'm looking at maybe 2 test matches in New Zealand, wherein you would still have you'll still have to go to a 4 fast bowling combination, and that's where you have all the resources set for probably the next 7 test matches of the cycle.
All right. Okay, that does it. Mr. Bangar, thank you so much. Been an absolute pleasure having your company. The next time India play a test, it's still about a couple of months away. That's when they take on West Indies at home. But the cricket action will continue here. Be sure to stay tuned to ESPN Cricinfo. That does it from us on CoinDCX presents ESPN Cricinfo Matchday.
Crypto Coach, CoinDCX. Learn karo, crypto karo.